Hello and welcome to A Celtic World, a YouTube channel and podcast made by Celtic fans all over the world, for Celtic fans all over this great big world. As I just check my microphone volume here, I'll say from Dermot to Durban, Brendan to Bremen. Is that tortured enough for you, Paul? Wherever you happen to be watching from, you're part of A Celtic World. How's it going?
Yeah, as good as can be, given the state of the club at the moment. But yeah, we'll have another chat about it. I'm sure we'll turn it into somewhat of a therapy session.
Okay. No sound in the intro, says Paddy Lavery. I don't know if he's playing with us there. There was no tune. I'm sure there was. All right, so it's just you and me, yes, as it was last time, but we managed manfully, I think. And it gives us a good opportunity to chew through the subjects. And what are those subjects? Well, a little bit of housekeeping. First of all, what do you call it? Summer daylight saving time change is upon us. For people who live on those small chilly islands in Northern Europe. So we're going to do our usual yearly switch of times. Oh, we do it twice a year, don't we? This one is obviously summer into winter. So instead of going out at 11 a.m. Celtic Park time, we're going to be 9:30 a.m. That's just the way it is. You get me? That's what we have to do every year, Paul, right? Cost of us doing business as a worldwide platform.
Indeed. Because, yeah, we start to get a bit stretched on this side of the world. We've obviously got Steve moves out 3 hours from us instead of the two previously. We don't do, we're you and I, our time zones are kind of sensible and unmoved. We just stay steady. We don't change all year round.
A bit like our emotional status.
Well, yeah, we seem to be the rigidity and the solidity in the Celtic World lineup at the moment. Maybe have some fair weather colleagues that are missing in action as times get tough. But yeah, we'll work around the time zone changes as we always do.
Yeah, so that's why Steve's not with us at the moment, because it's just too late for him for a few weeks until the clocks then change in the UK. And we go a bit earlier.
Yeah.
Anyway, so enough of that. You will see when we're on, you'll get used to it. And as soon as you're used to it, we'll go back to 11 a.m. and we'll do this whole merry dance all over again. All right, so I see somebody in the chat saying that they like the thumbnail. Feels like I'm in the boiler room shoveling coal. Did you see the thumbnail, Paul, before the show? I'm sure you did.
I of course I did. And I was wondering if there was going to be a complex 3-tiered explanation of it this week, or we were just going to be able to make our own assumptions from the picture.
Okay, well, why don't you tell me your assumptions?
Well, we've got the Mr. Moustache, our billionaire overlord, at the wheel of the Titanic, by the looks of it, heading straight for icebergs with the caption, "We're all at sea." So, yeah, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. His stewardship is taking us into further troubled waters. He doesn't seem too disappointed about it, to be honest, from that smiling demeanor.
Well, that's a sort of metaphor, isn't it, for the board? And they don't recognize the premise of any of the questions asked. They think everything is absolutely tickety-boo. There's no iceberg ahead. But, yeah, well, that's really the question I want to ask today is, like, how bad can things get, you know? They could get quite bad. We think they're bad now, but, you know, we'll soon find out. As the Titanic discovered, Paddy Lavery there filling us in on the fact that it was the hard-working people of East Belfast who assembled the Titanic, which then sank. But we're all very proud of it, you know, in Belfast. Everyone who goes to Belfast has to go to the Titanic Quarter. It's a really good museum, actually. It's very interesting. And like there's like a wee ride, like a very slow moving roller coaster that takes you through the bowels of the ship and the noise of them building it and the heat and everything. It's quite cool.
I thought you were going to say it takes you on a little sort of slow ride and you bump into an iceberg and then gradually get drowned.
Yeah, no, health and safety
But
wouldn't allow for that.
it's a funny thing to celebrate the construction of, isn't it?
Well, I mean, Belfast doesn't have, you know, it's got a troubled enough history, let's be honest. And it built something that was famous. So there's that. You fly into George Best Airport. Nothing that comes out of Belfast is purely amazing. There always has to be people giving you the downsides. Like George Best, one of the greatest footballers ever. And then people say, oh, aye, but he was a drunk and a terrible man didn't treat women well and things. And then they point out that the Titanic actually may have been massive, but it didn't stay afloat. You know, it's all in the details for you guys. Trying to
details,
down.
yeah. Sinking on your maiden voyage and however many people perishing is, we can sweep that on the carpet. It was well constructed.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, but yeah, where are we headed? That is the question. Because, well, what I wanted to talk to you about initially, Paul, is we know where we are in the table, right? Hearts have started very well, very strongly. We started not bad actually in terms of gathering points, but to say we're off the boil is certainly an understatement. We're definitely going to drop more points in the league. It's difficult to see where the turnaround comes from anytime soon, or for me it is anyway. Maybe you have more hope on that front. So, yeah, also, on the other side of the city, they had a meeting, didn't they, with the fans met with the club hierarchy, asked them a lot of difficult questions, got a lot of straight answers. They now have a new first team coach installed. And who knows what will happen between now and, say, March or whatever with that. It's quite possible that they're going to get their act together and not be as bad as they were.
Well,
and we talked about the directions of travel, Our direction of travel and their direction of travel could be complete polar opposites. And then you've got Hearts motoring away at the top. Hearts will drop points. Of course they will. But we're dropping points like, sandbags off a hot air balloon or something. So how bad can this get in the short term for this team? Forget about the club issues for the moment. This season, are we in danger of not winning the league? Shock horror.
Well, it's a realistic possibility for the first time in a long time. Anyone that's sort of seen my appearances here and elsewhere will recognize the fact that I'm generally a kind of upbeat, glass half full kind of guy. In recent years, I've been calling league seasons after 6 and 7 games, and people have been telling me I'm an idiot and I'm too bullish and too cocky and all the rest of it. And I've been absolutely proved right in those seasons, and we've won them at a canter, as it was absolutely likely to be the case. There's nothing that fills me with confidence about the state of our team and squad at the minute. We're massively disjointed, lopsided, and lacking in quality and depth. Coupled with that, you've got a manager who now seems to be in the final. Well, he is in the final year of his contract, and despite rumours being peddled in the last 24, 48 hours that he's still interested in extending that contract, and the club still seem to be, I cannot see a way that Brendan Rodgers extends his contract. And to be honest, I don't think there's many Celtic fans that'd be delighted if that was the case. Managers have a shelf life. He was coming towards the end of his shelf life last time when he left. And it definitely feels like that's the case again. Now, as we all know, the board are absolutely at fault here too. And the predominant fault lies with the board. Once again, we've failed to strengthen further from an already strong position. and allow the competition to start creeping up on us, and in the sort of immediate case, allowed Hearts to sneak past. Do I really think that Hearts are going to run away with the title? No. Do I think they've got the potential to be a realistic challenge? If we don't improve, then absolutely. Like, so the things that happen, Hearts haven't played too many of the really big clubs yet, and they've had some squeaks against teams that you would say were, Hibs should have done better against them. When they played Rangers, they were dreadful. But we played them when they were dreadful, and I just think we showed them far too much respect. I think if we'd gone at them and gone for the jugular, we could have easily won that game at Ibrox. And I think it sort of sums up how Rodgers has been setting his teams up this year. It sort of lacks ambition, it lacks aggressiveness and intensity, and I feel like we've just got to a point where the squad's stale and the manager's a bit stale, and the board's lack of investment is an easy excuse. It's an absolutely valid excuse, but two things can be true at the same time. So let's say we're massively underfunded, and that is 100% crucial to where we are right now. But if you're an elite manager on £3 million a year, you should be getting more out of the highest valued, most paid squad in the country. And somebody might tell me the Rangers squad's marginally more higher paid, possibly, but clearly we should be getting more out of the squad. The lack of sort of a change in plan, personnel, it's a classic thing. You do the same thing, you get the same result. It's definition of insanity, and he continues to play a midfield that isn't functioning. He's got quality, absolute quality young players sitting in the background, barely able to even get on the pitch for more than 10 minutes at a time. In guys like Engels and Bernardo, and then he's chopping and changing with journeymen instead of young talent that he's got at his fingertips and available, and just all up. I can't really, without radical change to the team and the system, I don't see how we change our fortunes. I really don't. Until at least January. Until at least January.
I think what a lot of people see. Yeah.
And why would the board fund him in January if they think he's going? And if they weren't going to,
he's not the man for radical change. He's been laying the groundwork for his incremental changes already, saying, you need stability. Yes, we want to freshen things up, but you need stability. That's where the pace comes from and things, the pace of play. What pace of play would that be? So he's already sort of buttering us up for, one or two changes, but nothing radical.
But I think that's the problem, though. Like without radical change, we're not going to see a radical change to the team, and the tactics, and that could be formational.
Let's talk about that. Did you see the interesting chat on Axom with your friend? What's his name? Liam Carrigan.
I didn't. I had.
Yeah, and they were talking about. He was making the point: if you don't have any right wingers, why are you playing a system that requires a right winger or wingers? You've got everything you need for a 3-5-2. You could have 3 central defenders, 2 wing backs. You've got one striker up front who's better as one of 2. So there you've got your 2 strikers, him and someone dashing around nearby him. But I also saw some manager being quoted saying that they're sick of podcasters telling them how to manage football clubs or football teams. But, as you say, definition of insanity, something's got to be tried. Something has to be tried.
Well, I don't even. The 3-5-2 is there's some merit in that. The danger with that is how long it takes to bed in, and where you fit in. So that would then mean potentially. So the upsides of that I can see is you play Kieran Tierney as a left-sided centre back, and then he doesn't have to flog himself up and down the wing. Srirachi looks great in terms of his delivery high up the pitch, so he could play out there. If you do that, then where does Tenecti play? And he's been, an exciting outlet. If you're playing 3-5-2, then the wing back probably does need to be somebody that's got some defensive ability. I don't think we need to go to 3-5-2 to make it work. I think you could, and I think I've talked about this before. I think you could switch it to, instead of the midfield being one sitting and two further forward, I think we could flip that and have two slightly deeper, but not as deep as Cal McGregor is currently sitting. So McGregor sits basically on the centre back's toes, and they play crappy little triangles between each other and slow the game down. And we saw that in Dundee terribly. Like, he'd get it off CCV, he'd give it back to CCV, he'd give it to Liam Scales, he'd get it back from Liam Scales. He didn't have a lot of movement in front of him, but it was pretty poor. So you put Engels in next to him, or Bernardo, and then you can play, the fullbacks can then go and be properly attacking and completely loose, because you've got two centre backs and two slightly deeper midfielders. There's four covering there. You could even release Engels a lot of the time and just leave McGregor there, or vice versa. McGregor's probably wasted a lot of time in the six, and let Nigrin or Hatate, let them play more as a 10, give them less defensive responsibility, let them be more creative in the final third, and link the front three. And just be a bit like, Tenecti plays on the right for his country. He has done in this last international break. He's when he's been on form, he's looked like he can come inside and outside equally comfortably. I don't see why you can't do that from the right wing. You've got Balak-Wisha and Maeda on there. Obviously, Maeda's injured at the minute, but Balak-Wisha's had tiny cameos, and to be honest, he's in the last couple of games, he's looked lively and might get something. Him and Engels linked together for the Motherwell winner for Dyson. They linked together, and he had a good curling shot that was just tipped over the bar in the Dundee game. I just think, why wouldn't you try and get these guys on the pitch? Clearly what's currently there isn't working. So instead of just going, we'll do the same again and hope for the best, change it. Get different players. And I don't think you need, I'm not saying 3-5-2 can't work, but it's a more radical shift for a team that has been playing 4-3-3 for 4 or 5 years. Whereas a little tweak to the midfield can potentially change the setup. And I think we just did the midfield to sit higher up the pitch. McGregor sitting on the toes of the centre backs is just strangles that part of the team, and we just allow teams to sit up in two banks of five and make it really hard for us to play through. We need to move the balls vertically through the lines much quicker, and then take players out of play, and then you're getting onto like the last 2 or 3 defenders, and suddenly there's space to try and run into and link, and you've got opportunities to shoot and score. Yeah. Football's not a complicated game. We all overcomplicate it with analysis, and I'm as guilty as that as anyone else. But you play the game at pace and move it forward through the pitch.
Play the game at pace, move the ball forward, stretch defenders, keep running about the place, to create space. But none of this is happening, which I can't understand how. Yes, I know we've lost a few players and we've lost pace, but we've still got a group of players that we all thought were good a while ago, and they've all forgotten how to play football. It's just unbelievable. Why are they not grabbing the game by the scruff of the neck and saying, look, come on, lads, we know what to do. We're professional footballers. I don't understand it. I don't understand why it's so one-paced and everyone has collectively forgotten what the hell they're doing. How can that be? How can that be?
Or we've overcomplicated the message to such a point that it's just a bit of a mess, to be honest. Like a DM McDonald makes a really good point there. He's got his favourites, and they're too comfortable. They're pretty confident they're not going to get dropped. And if you don't think you're going to get dropped, unless you're an extremely highly motivated individual, then there's a pretty good chance that your performance levels will drop off. Like, let's look back a few, like a couple 2 or 3 years ago. Greg Taylor had no pressure on him, and his performance was pretty poor. Bernabe was signed, and hardly made it. He hardly made a performance. Greg Taylor's performance went up really clearly went up. Wasn't even an incremental. It was a very clear improvement. And Scales is another one. Trusty was signed to replace Scales. Trusty never couldn't get in the team for a bit. Scales' performance lifted. It's still not lifted to the level of where I think we should have a Celtic centre back. But if there's no pressure on your position, then clearly your performance level is going to drop off.
Yeah, and of course there's all this talk about whether the response of the fans is dragging the team down and all the rest of it. But I want to just move it on a little second, because I've got a few little videos to play in this episode, Paul. You'll be excited to hear. One is I wanted to talk about the fact that, well, we're a Celtic world. There's Celtic fans all over the world, CSCs in every corner of the earth. And it all started with the break clubs, do you remember? For whom the Celtic hierarchy back in the day had a pretty dim view, which suggests that some things never change, Those behind the club have a pretty dim view of the fan base generally. But at the time of the book that came out, the Celtic Bars book, we made this little video, and I thought it'd be a nice time to share it, just to remind ourselves of that and the importance of CSCs and some of the facts and figures about CSCs. So let's just enjoy a little second of this, and then we'll get back to talking about the Sturmgraz game. There's about that then, Paul. Little trip down memory lane. What did you enjoy most about that video?
I liked all of that. I've been to the furthest east. Was it the furthest east? Auckland was the furthest
Auckland,
east.
Yeah.
So I've been. I've took a game in the Auckland CSC quite a few years ago. It was really early in the morning for obvious reasons, and yeah, there was maybe 10, 15 of us in that morning. It was good crack.
Very good. I know there's new ones popping up all the time. I know there's one in Papua New Guinea now. Would you believe? Celtic CSC in Papua New Guinea. Can't imagine they have great numbers. I'm actually going that direction soon in November. I'm away for a couple of weeks. It's over the next international break. I might miss a show or two, Paul. Might need you to do some hosting duties. I'm going to the Solomon Islands diving, so looking forward to that. That'll be good. Lots of World War II wrecks boats and planes, things like that to dive around. You can hear underwater volcanic activity as you're diving, going along through the water. There's one dive that starts in the jungle, like you have to take all your gear, walk into the jungle, and you jump into a pool on the ground, and it takes you out through a cave out into the open ocean. That's pretty cool.
Very cool.
Would you like to join me sometime? We go diving, Paul. Are you a diver?
Insert your own joke here. I do not have my paddy. I had hoped to do it when I was backpacking a few years ago, but there was a unfortunate incident with a scam, and I was therefore a little light on the number of dollars that I was hoping to have, and the paddy was the one that got sacrificed for that. So yeah, never done it. Done a bit of snorkeling in Southeast Asia, but I've never done diving.
Mm-hmm. Got to be done. There's a whole world out there to discover, you know. It's amazing. All right. That's not what people are tuning in to hear us chatting about. So let's move it on to Sturmgraz. Sturmgraz. Now then, you're going to have to tell me all of the product of all the research that you've been doing, Paul, over the past few days. Jurgen Saumel and defender Emmanuel Aiwu at Celtic Park ahead of tomorrow's Europa League clash. They look like they mean business to me. Is that because of how we're playing that those two look like serious gentlemen come to do some damage? Or what do you take from that?
Well, they look like fine specimens of athletes, and yeah, look, so here's the thing: a year ago, would we have been concerned about Sturmgraz? Not even 9 months ago, would we have been concerned about Sturmgraz coming to Celtic Park to play any European match? I don't think we would have. Obviously, every opponent needs to be respected, etc., etc. But you'd have strongly backed us to beat them. I think they ended up the bottom 2 or 3 in last year's Champions League table. But it depends what Celtic turn up. I've got absolutely no optimism for what happens tonight, and I don't really expect much good to happen on Sunday either. It would not surprise me in the slightest if we lost both games, and yeah, that's coming from
Mr. Glass Half Full.
Mr. Glass Half Full and quite often overflowing. So yeah, I'm not optimistic, and there's nothing to show any optimism based on what we've seen recently and the ability to turn it around. They're a decent side. They're no more than that. But if we turn up and play with a decent intensity, as I say, there's no form for that. But if we do, then I think we can compete, and all things being equal, we could win the match. But I'm not really confident that that's going to happen, to be honest. And if they play to anything like their level, then they'd be confident of getting a result. And that's the thing, right? I think they will be coming here confident that they can get some kind of result. And if they come out and have a good crack at us, there's defensive frailties. We look toothless up front. We've how many games? We've got a lot of games without a goal. Stat I heard earlier, we haven't scored a goal before the 26th minute in any match this season.
And that's amazing.
6 minutes were both League Cup games against Falkirk and Partick Thistle. So any league game or European game, the first goal is even later than 26 minutes. We're not starting games well, which again makes a mockery of the complaints that the protests, derailed our attempts to win the match on Sunday. Like, if we're not scoring goals until well into 26 minutes and beyond, a 2 or 3 minute delay.
Yeah.
A 2 or 3 minute delay isn't going to change that. And as a lot of people have said, that delay was the same for both teams, and Dundee came out and played with intent and aggression. And every time they got the ball in a forward position, they looked like they could hurt us. And really, despite the chances we carved out, which were plentiful in the end and more than enough to win the match, we didn't take them. And if you don't take your chances, you're not going to win matches. So I am concerned. I think we'll need a bit of luck, and we'll need to get out in front and have a kind of positive an upbeat start to the game, and you never know from there. But there's nothing that really fills me with confidence that that's going to happen.
And as I heard somebody else pointing out, the game is full of delays now with VAR. Players are stopping playing and standing about for 3 minutes all the time. So, the thought of them not being able to play football at all because they're so rattled by a couple of minutes delay at the start of a game is a bit silly.
And the other thing we should say about this game is that I've seen it being played down. This is absolutely must win. Like, if we've got any ambitions to get into
I have no ambitions to get anywhere in the Europa League. I think we're going to go out with a whimper.
Well, no, there's a difference between saying you think that's what's going to happen and having ambitions, right? I think we all should want us to qualify out of it and go as far in it as possible, right? Just because it's not the tournament we wanted to be in, but we should still be wanting and hoping to go as far as possible in it. But if we've got any, never mind ambitions or expectations, if we've got any hope to get out into the knockout stages, we've got to win tonight. We just have to. So that would be 4 points from 3 games, 5 games to go, and they get progressively tougher. You're going to need 11
Let's just have a look
points.
at that. In fact, here's the table. Sorry to interrupt you there, Paul. We'll come back to that. I just wanted to show Sturmgraz's position in the table and their record so far: 7 victories and 2 defeats out of 9. So, that's much more the kind of form you want going into a game like this. And the other thing you mentioned there, Paul, was what? Our fixtures. Yeah, our fixtures. Geez, they're frightening. No, where are they now? Oh, dang, but I thought I had them. Can you tell me from memory what games are coming up?
Well, I'm just talking about Europa League. But if
these are them.
Yeah, so I saw somebody say in the comments that Midtjylland will be, if we get on that could be an easy win. I've got no expectations that will be I think that'll be an extremely tough game away. They are extremely strong at home. They beat, Forest are having a bit of a tough time, but that is even for those problems that they had at the beginning under Ange's tenure, Forest have got some really good players, and I think they got beaten 3-1 away to Midtjylland. Midtjylland are excellent on set pieces, and we are renownedly dreadful. So I don't fancy us to get anything from Midtjylland away on current form. Fine, or a coin toss. Roma, I'm not particularly optimistic. Bologna neither, and maybe we beat Utrecht. So on that basis, I can struggle to get us to 9 or 10 points, and I think we're going to need 11 to guarantee. 10 could get you out of the group and into knockout, but teams on 10 missed out last season, so you're going to need 11 points. I can't see where they're coming from, unless there's a radical change in form. We've got to win comfortably tonight. If that then gives us confidence, somehow we beat Hearts and then win the semi-final, suddenly there's a head of steam. But you'd have to be spoken something pretty strong to believe that that's a strong possibility at the minute, because there's really nothing but to back that up. And Mahesh is right. Like, the Midtjylland are a super strong team, and they'll be well organised, excellent from set pieces, and we can't beat those teams at home, and they'll be a much better version of those teams that set themselves up strongly, big specimens, and excellent at set pieces. So yeah, I think we're in trouble.
Yeah, and if they do their homework, as suggested here by Joe Rogan Josh, good name, and they have a look at how did Dundee manage to have such success against us, then, they're going to stroll it, I fear. But, sometimes it's always darkest before dawn, they say, Paul, which can't be scientifically accurate, given the rotation of the Earth and its relative position to the sun. That's not true, is it? It's not actually darkest before dawn.
I think
it's slightly lighter than it was a few minutes beforehand, but still dark.
Still pretty dark.
But the point of that expression is that there's always hope, and maybe when you don't expect things to turn around, that's when they do.
On that basis, I assume you'll be getting up for this one to watch it live, Gav.
No, I will not. It's too dark and close to dawn for me. I'm afraid.
Even I might not. This is how unoptimistic or pessimistic I am at the minute. Is that I'm not even convinced I'm going to get up and watch this live, and I get up at all hours of the morning to watch the games live. But I feel like I might watch this one slightly in delay. This is. I know a lot of people are starting to talk about the 10 in a row season, but this is the COVID season. This is as bad as it's felt since then, and I hope, and it's hope more than expectation, that we can somehow get it back on track. But it's got a lot of the same feelings. Players that have overstayed their welcome and don't want to be there. A manager who isn't potentially isn't capable of turning things around. And potentially opponents that are on the up, and on that Hearts, if there'll never be a better chance for Hearts to win the league. I can't see a point when there'll be a better chance for Hearts to win the league, because if we do implode and they win the league, undoubtedly money will come out of the coffers and will be thrown at it like they always do, and there'll be a resurgence. Rangers will probably get the shit together at some point. I think it's probably too late for them this season, but you never know. But on that, everything. So we've had a good laugh about their recruitment position, and I've joined in with that. But our hiring of Ange proves that even an incompetent board can get a lucky break, right? So I think Danny Rowe's a good coach. I do not think that he will get the time and patience from that support if he doesn't start flying, and he'll probably be hunted as other managers have been hunted. But if he gets a really good start and gets some sort of credit in the bank, he could be a coach that turns things around for them. So the fact that we're even talking about the convergence of Hearts and Rangers with us is absolutely ludicrous. Absolutely ludicrous. We've got 77 million quid in the bank, and we can't find a right winger. We've got Tony Ralston starting, we've got Scales starting, we've got it's just an absolute shambles. Like the more we discuss it, the more frustration comes out. Like we go from frustration to anger to apathy. But it's ludicrous we find ourselves in this position. Absolutely.
Well, some of our commenters are so apathetic they can't even be bothered commenting. Was one comment I just read, which is funny.
Yeah.
Well, look, let's cheer ourselves up with another video, shall we? Shall we have a wee dig into the vault? Happier times.
Indeed.
Happier times. And this is one of the first Celtic karaoke efforts that sort of caused a ripple. It's fair to say. It wasn't one of our biggest hits, Paul, but got us noticed by a few PR agencies and things when we were a struggling garage band, that kind of thing. Happier times, and there's some nice blue sky activity in this little clip, and some people think that there's a part of it which is a bit off, where the camera lingers a bit too long on Jacinta, but you can be the judge of that. This is in the theme of David Bowie. This is our tribute to Karl Starfelt. Karl Starfelt rising through the sky. He heads away the crosses and he's tackling in slides. Starfelt rising through the sky. He plays upon the left side, but he's better on the right. Celtic, Cardiff loves him, and his parents love him. Even Jacinta loves him. Starfelt rising through the sky. He heads away the crosses and he's tackling in slides. Starfelt rising through the sky. He plays upon the left side, but he's better on the right. Celtic, Cardiff loves him, and his parents love him. Even Jacinta loves him. Not sure what Pegleg's getting at there. Is he saying the song was ass?
Might have been one of the pictures that made it into that montage.
Are they still together?
Don't know.
Those two? Because
Bit
she's
quiet.
moved, hasn't she? Somewhere else. Like far away from Portugal and Spain.
I can't remember where she went to another team that plays in green. I
In
know it's so
green,
much
like Panathinaikos or something, is it?
wasn't then.
I
Wasn't.
don't know.
But yeah. I don't know. I did, you know, like it does make me so here's the thing. Rewind a few years. Carl Starfelt was extremely maligned by the Celtic support. He took a long time for some fans to warm to him, and some fans never warmed to him. But he is easily, far and away, easily the best partner that CCV's had in the time that he's been at the club. By some distance. It's not even close. It is absolutely not even close. And bear in mind, he played out of position for the entire time he played at Celtic. He's a right-sided centre-back. He played left-sided centre-back for us. And that's why he looked sometimes a little bit uncomfortable as he sort of shuffled the ball from with his right foot out to the fullback. But yeah, it's always enjoyable when we get to see some of the old hits come out of the closet. But yeah, it just
the way you said that now, somebody could have picked that up wrong. Was that a deliberate joke? It's great to see some of the old tits.
Hits, Gavin.
That's what I said. I said hits, some of the old hits.
Don't be so coarse. No, but it's all it does is it makes me long for a centre back that's actually competent.
Oh, geez, Paul, your microphone's gone mad again. Oh no, here we go. Sort your microphone out, mate. It's gone mad. You might have to go away and come back. Go away and come back. Leave me with the peeps in the chat. Yeah. I can still hear it. All right, anyway. What are we going to talk about next? Let me just check my notes. Now it would have been a good time to stick on the old Starfelt, but unfortunately, Paul's microphone has chosen a funny time to give up the ghost. Oh, it's just me. Wow, that's a close-up. Max Headroom is back in the house, says Paddy Lavery. You're not wrong. Oh, I know what I'll do, Paddy, saying as you're here. I'll share a couple of little things that you sent to me, Paddy. Let's go first of all with Paddy's poll. This is in Paddy's backyard in the Ardoyne. He's very proud of this. There's the flag flying high over Ardoyne. Pretty good. And here's another one from Paddy. Where he says the TARDIS needs some work. You can see the flag in the background there, or behind the shed. I wonder, does the TARDIS open into the shed? Is it like connected? That'd be cool. Like you go into the TARDIS and then that's your way into the shed. So it actually is bigger on the inside than the outside. I can imagine Paddy Lavery there cosplaying as Doctor Who, entertaining all the people of the area. Happy with that, Paddy? I wonder if Paddy making any comments. Oh no, he's gone all quiet. I can't see them anyway. You'd want to paint the TARDIS green, says Pegleg. Not sure it would look like the real deal. Well, there's Cara's in the house as well. I mean, I know Paul is back. I'm just enjoying filling the screen on my own. All right, Paul. How's the mic?
Well, I just couldn't hear you, so it all went quiet at my end. So apologies. Yeah, I have no idea what happened. So I thought I'd abandon ship. We were all at sea, abandoned ship, try and get back on a life raft. and make it back to port. And here we are.
Did you see what I was looking at there?
I did see the
Paddy.
flag in the back garden. I assumed it to be Paddy's because we'd heard about this recently. Yeah. And I got back in time to see that. And the TARDIS, I'm not really sure.
Is that what TARDIS stands for? Or is that made up after the event?
It stands for something, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's that.
Very good, Sligo boy. There you go. Learn something new every day. Right, let me see. What are we on to next? That sort of threw us for a bit of a funny one. Okay, injuries then, coming up for the game. What have we got to talk about in terms of injuries? Maeda seems to be the main one, according to John McGinley here. Suffering from stiffness in the lower back and his hamstrings. There's no timeline for his return, despite positive news on treatment. Definitely misses Sturmgraz, will be assessed ahead of Hearts. Alistair Johnson, back in the fold, we think. Back in contention for this game. Will he play? Won't he play? Is there anybody else injured? Apart from Jota, obviously. Yoto.
I think that's about it in terms of... Yeah, Bernardo was ill, but back in training according to photos on social media, so I expect him to be part of the squad. Got a fresh new haircut as well. He's rocking a haircut like I used to sport about 31 years ago. The old curtains are firmly back in fashion. You wouldn't need to worry about that, Gav.
Who's got curtains?
Paulo Bernardo.
Paulo Bernardo. Oh, aye. And he's shaving too tight at the sides here, isn't he? You saw us comparing him to season 1 Blackadder.
I didn't see that, no.
Well, that's what we did. All the cutting edge analysis happens here, as you know.
Yeah, haircuts and the like.
Okay, so I see a few comments in the chat, like who's going to start and would you go with these 3 and blah, blah, blah. So let's do that. Let's talk about our predicted teams. And I just thought to start this conversation, I'll throw this one up. This one I heard from your namesake, Paul, Celtic Fans TV. And I think it's possibly correct. I think this might be what Brendanrodgers does with Balikwisha on the left and Tenekti on the right. What do you reckon?
I'd be surprised if it's as radical as this, given what he's usually up to, but I would take that at the minute. I guess, do we really think Sirachi's going to be thrown straight into this kind of game when he's been sparingly used in recent weeks? So no, I'm absolutely an advocate for. I think Katie's been extremely disappointing, and yeah, he's in a team on reputation rather than actual performance. So I think Sirachi's absolutely deserving of a crack. If there was any real quality and fitness in the centre back positions, both of those guys would be under threat, but they're not, so they'll probably start. I think it's risky to throw AJ straight back in, but if he's deemed to be fit, I'd probably prefer to bring him off the bench and get him 30 minutes, half an hour, 40 minutes, and then if he comes through that well, put him in against Hearts, because it's arguably the bigger game this week. I'd love to see Engels in the team. Obviously, you call me a fanboy, but anyone that doesn't want Engels and Bernardo in the team at the minute, I think is borderline crazy. I don't know why Nygren's still in the side. I'm not sure.
Or McCowan running about at least. At least he runs about most of the time.
I'm not like Carl's on the for me. Carl's in the same position as KT. He's there on reputation and past performance, not current performance. But he's looks like he's never going to get dropped. So an interesting stat the other day. I think Bruni played something like 614 maybe matches for Celtic in 14 years, and I think McGregor's already over 550 in 10. So he's played an inordinate amount of football for a guy of his age, and you can't keep putting the body through that. He plays nearly 90 minutes all the time. At the very least, he should be coming off with 30 minutes, 40 minutes to go in games. But yeah, I don't get it. The front three, I think, with my head out, that's the front three I'd go with.
You don't think he's going to go for Yang? I see other people putting Yang in there.
Yang's lucky to be anywhere near the squad on current performance. Like this is a guy who wanted to go, thought he was going, and to me, right, you play your new signings, even if one or two of them have to play out of position. Get these guys in the team because they should have more energy, enthusiasm, better attitude, and they're likely here for the longer haul. So get them in the team. Like nobody gets better by sitting on the bench. They get their reputation sometimes gets deemed to be better, but players don't actually get better by sitting on the bench. You get better by playing games. So let's get players that are going to make up a good chunk of the squad for this season on the pitch and get them up to speed. Same goes for Engels. Same goes for Bernardo, and others. Like we need, like the one of the major problems we've got is we're relying on the same people all the time, going back to the well, and it isn't happening. So you need variation. But Yang can't play. Not a chance. He'd be lucky to be anywhere near the squad. If it was me, I'd be going to find the B team and find if it's Yang or a B team player, I'm on a B team player. Get them in the team, give them a crack. Look how Donovan's had it. Like, this is the thing. Kieran Tierney only, like, he only made it in the team because Delia spotted something and at 17 gave him a crack, and look at the player he went and become. Okay, the injuries have taken their toll. Donovan's in the side. He was nearly at Dundee, and he's in the side because AJ got injured. Absolutely. Monty, we don't always agree, but Engels should be in the team every single week. Certainly on current form. There's a narrative that he wasn't good enough. There you go. But he was in the team every week last season. And he was contributing. And we thought this is a season he would kick on and actually go up a level, and then he's hardly had game time. You can't kick on if you're not in the team. So he's absolutely got to play.
This is Brown Warrior under a pseudonym, Joe Rogan, Josh. I'd like to see a change of personnel and shape in midfield, either back to a double pivot or a shift to a four-man diamond. A, to get the best out of McGregor, and B, to bolster the area up.
So the double pivot's what I was talking about at the start of the show. I think that's the easiest change without too much variation, but it could do something different.
Davey thinks he's going to start with Forrest on the right. I mean, he could. I mean, when you need to go to the shops, if all you've got's a Honda Civic, that's how you get to the shops. Honda Civic. What do you think of that kind of talk?
Well, you saw my little jocular post on the group chat earlier in the week.
I did.
He didn't enjoy being grilled about that on the press conference yesterday.
No, he didn't. What about the thing where he said, I had a note here for the very start of the show, which I didn't say it. Oh yeah, I have never been more motivated, said Rodgers, sounding and looking very demotivated. Huh?
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see, won't we? We'll see. But there's a lot that's said that did ring true. I quite enjoyed the references to when he was asked about the protests and how that might affect the players. He said, "Well, there'll be studies. There will have been studies done to work out this." And then he doubled down on that later. And it's like, have there been studies done?
He sounded like Donald Trump. A lot of people are saying.
A lot of people are saying protests could cause problems in the game. I'm not saying that, but some people are. It's nonsense, isn't it? Like he doesn't look like a man who's super motivated. We'll wait and see. But he's got a massive month coming up. All right.
No. Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. But look, harking back to the thumbnail and the sort of premise of the show is like, how bad can things get? I just wanted to raise the coefficient. This is what happens at the end of this season. Champion has a playoff for the Champions League, second place, second round Champions League. But it starts to kick in. The problems start to arise next season. As the results of next season will lead to this. No, the results of this season will lead to this. Is that right? No. This is next season. And then the following season, look, there's only one person, one club that has a chance of getting into the Champions League. And then it's followed by these two things. Look at that. Second round Conference League. And then if the cup winner, you've got a chance of getting into the Europa League. So, like next season, that's going to be your best bet if you're not going to win the league. Anyway, the point is, this is not a good time to be allowing lots of competition to rise while you decline. It's a very, very bad time to be doing it. You get me?
Yeah, like we need to up our game, but I just don't know where it's coming from at the moment. I guess ultimately, you need to
I thought I was expecting a longer answer.
Well, no, yeah, okay. Like, ultimately, you need to play more pace, and you need to get in some bloody service. My biggest issue, well, was it my biggest issue? I'm not sure. One of my biggest issues in the Dundee game is we put two strikers on from half time, and we got 0 balls into the box until the injury time. Like, Kieran Tierney played an actual killer cross in the last minute or into injury time that Iniacha did really well, and he probably should have scored, and he just headed it past the post. That was the only quality delivery that we had into the box in the second half, and you got 2 strikers in there. You could have played 6 strikers. If you don't get the ball in the box, you're not going to score any goals. Like, it's so basic. It's absolutely so basic.
Well, Pegleg Lonergan is pointing out that what I said there about the Champions League, tell that to the board, Gav. Yes, well, absolutely.
You have got a hotline. You have got a hotline to the board, so just give them a tinkle, and we'll get that sorted.
Well, I don't know if I have a hotline to the board or indeed to Dermot Desmond, but as some of you will know, we here at the Celtic World have made our own little effort to try and send a message to Dermot Desmond. So I'm going to show you that as the third video. We're really spoiling you right now, Mr. Ambassador, with all these videos, this episode. This is our latest version of Where's the Ambition? And we're going to add to this with more and more photographs from within the Celtic World family. So you can enjoy this one. Let me just take this banner off first of all, before I play it, so that you can see it in all its glory.
Instead of this settling for mediocre, imagine what we could be.
Imagine what we could be, Paul.
Well, it's all there for us if we just had some competent owners board. I'm sick speaking about it. Like we literally, the blueprint's there. Go look at Bruges, see what they've done over the last 10 years. Absolutely. You just look at Bruges and go, well, we've got everything they've got and more replicated. And yet there isn't one iota of forward thinking in that boardroom.
Mm-hmm. Do we want to make any score predictions or anything for tonight's game? Somebody mentioned earlier, can you guys not record the game and watch it? We can, of course, watch it like the next day on various methods. It just depends what time it's uploaded to that dodgy Celtic TV alternative that I have. But, you know, depending on the result, I may or may not watch the whole game. You know, if highlights will suffice. That might have to be the case. But you're definitely up watching it as you always are, Paul.
I wouldn't say definitely.
So really?
in Australia, we've got Stan on the Champions League and Europa League now. So I'm not reliant on Celtic TV for the European stuff. So they've got the tech that there's no reason why Celtic TV shouldn't have this tech, but you can just go in and watch it from the start at any point that you go and watch it. So I could get up at 4 instead of 3 and watch it then and then just be up for the day. So yeah, I might do that rather than have a dead hour between 5 and 6 a.m. So yeah, I might watch it in an hour's delay. We'll see.
Oh, that's handy enough.
But yeah, I don't know. Like normally I get up regardless whether it's 1 a.m. and go to bed, get up, go back to bed. But yeah, I guess that's when I'm at my most optimistic. So we'll see. I might still get up. We'll see. Sometimes the body just wakes me up. I've noticed that after my Bruges comments, 2 or 3 smart arses have said they got pumped by Bayern Munich, but I just remind people which tournament they're in to get pumped by Bayern Munich.
Of course.
Which, you know, I think we'd have taken a 4-0 gubbing for Bayern Munich last night if we were competitive in the Champions League and beating other teams in the Champions League. So, you know, it goes with the territory. But yeah, who knows? It could be anything tonight. They could gub us. We could sneak a win. Could be a draw. I don't fancy us to win comfortably, put it that way. So we'll see.
Well, tonight's game is just a game. Sundays is the big game, says Sheena of Cork.
Don't disagree.
I'm
not feeling confident. I'm not feeling confident about either.
Queen Sheena of Cork. She sounds very sort of regal, like, you know, an important woman. All right. So, sorry, I didn't mean to put that up. All right. Well, look, we'll leave it there. We've gone over the hour. So, Paul, that was very entertaining to talk through those issues. We'll have to see how it pans out. The first Celtic World people to react to the game will be our American cousins on the North America show, which is like 1 a.m., I think, Celtic Park time. 8 a.m. Eastern Seaboard. 8 p.m. Eastern Seaboard on a Wednesday night. So, no, it's Thursday night this week.
Thursday.
Anyway, I'm butchering all of this. If you want to, you can watch them in the wee hours after the game. See what our American cousins have to say about it. But, there's some positivity in the chat. Pegleg saying, keep the faith. These are trying times, and it's difficult to keep the faith under these circumstances, but we'll do our best. All right, everyone. Thank you very much to everyone in the chat, as always. It's been tremendous fun spending this last hour with you. And as always, Paul, a delight to be in your company.
Thank you. Likewise.
Okay. Until next time, everyone. Cheerio and hail, hail.
Hail, hail.